and I hear like the window breaking, and I'm like, what was that? It's your girl Vanavici, and we are back with another video. So I actually started this story time off as a get ready with me, but I just figured I would just talk because I was starting to ramble and get off track because I cannot multitask. So I figured I'd tell the story time of how I had a home invasion while I was home. So this was back like a few years, like 6 years ago, and I was renting an apartment. Well, I was renting a room and had a roommate in this apartment that was like the bottom level. It was ground level apartment in like a two-story house, like like a raised ranch. And I didn't know the girl that well, but in hindsight, it's 2020. I would never do this again. But I was early 20s, wanted to be on my own, so I was like, all right, like I I didn't want to make an hour commute in the wintertime anymore, so I figured I would just give it a go and, cut my commute time down by like 45 minutes. So, I literally found the apartment, moved in like early January and of 2019, and I everything was good. Was living there, doing my thing, working, paying bills, all that kind of stuff. And then I had covered two different offices at the time. So I was in the one office that was a little bit further, and I came home. It was like a Friday night. This was February, I think it was February 7th or February 9th of 2019. And I went home. It was like a regular day, but it felt like a little eerie. Like it felt very, I don't know, like I felt like a heavy energy, and I'm big on energy, so I felt like this heavy energy. And I did my normal routine. I went in through, there's two different ways to get in. I went in through the back and got some out the fridge. I was eating a snack, gonna make like a little drink, whatever, and go into my room. And for some reason, like I never felt fully comfortable. Like I never felt fully, like, I don't know. I always felt like I had to lock every door I was behind. Like even in the bathroom, going to my room for a second, like I always felt like that, like a heavy energy. So I went into my room. I had like, you know, my snacks and my drink, and I was laying down on YouTube actually, and I was just chilling, and then all of a sudden I heard like rustling like outside, and like I said, like we were in the bottom floor, so it was ground level because it was on like a hill or whatever. So I'm chilling there, and then I hear like the window breaking, and I'm like, what was that? And so I stopped breathing, and I'm just like holding my breath, and didn't move a muscle. And then I heard it like shatter, and I heard like a drop, and what sounded like someone stepped down into the bathroom. So where our rooms were, they were diagonal from each other, and then there was a bathroom in between. So I was like, what is going on? So I walked. Let's see. I waited, and then I could hear the person walk past my door and go into the kitchen. So immediately, just without thinking, I went and grabbed like my phone, which was on 9%. This is why I always run to a charger now, because PTSD. My phone was on 9%. I had a walk-in closet, so I went and I had like enough room. I put my hamper like in front of the door and locked it. And I was in the corner, and I called 911, and I'm like, I'm at such and such address, like somebody just broke in, da da da. And I'm also texting my roommate at the time, and I asked her like, hey, are you home, or is your boyfriend here, because he would always be there. And she was like, no, like she was hours away. And I'm like, and he wasn't there either. So I'm like, oh, it's going down. It's something's really going on. So I was like, oh shoot, and I didn't text like anyone else because I knew my phone would probably blow up, and I only had enough power for like 911. So I just was like praying and praying and praying and praying to God, like, please, like, you know, this is not the time. I'm not ready. Like, I need to live. I want to live. So, yeah, pretty much waited. I was on 911 for about like 12 minutes. And if you've ever had an emergency, even more than a minute or two on the phone 911 is a long time. So can you imagine 12 minutes was so long? And I could hear the person like going through the cupboards, going through the kitchen because the kitchen was right there. And then I heard like a door slam. And 911, I'm like 911, like I'm on the phone with the operator, like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to die. And they're like, you're not gonna die. Like, they're somebody's en route. Somebody's en route. And where we were like in the middle of like the country, so it was like, you know, not a lot of police officers worked in that area. So I'm like, oh my god, I guess this is it. Like, you know. And so, they let's see. So the cops eventually come knocking on the door and say like, "Oh, police, police." So I said to them like, "Show me like your badge, da da." And so they showed the badge like through the like curtain or whatever, because it was just like the like a back kitchen door. And so I was like, okay, like it is the police. So they came in, and I was like, I think it was a defense mechanism or trauma response, but I was like holding myself, like giving myself comfort. And yeah, they basically asked me what happened, da da da, and they were just like touching everything. Like they didn't even like rope anything off. They didn't like none of that. They just like we're going through everything, and I showed them. I'm like, no, like this is what I heard. I heard somebody drop in. I heard somebody, and they were like acting like, I don't know. I felt like they didn't like believe what I was saying, and then they found the mud footprint. When I said that, I heard like a drop. It was the like a size boot, like probably like 12, like a size 12, like that, like a men's boot, and it was mud all through the house. And I'm like, see, like, you know. And then one of the cops went and saw that my roommate's windows were smashed in, and so they immediately I don't know, they like radioed somebody else or whatever, and we were on the phone with her, and they asked if they could like enter her room, and she said yes. And they went in, and yeah, it was like glass everywhere. And her boyfriend ended up showing up, and I think she showed up like a few hours later and confirmed that the money that she had in there saving, that only one person would know where it was, that was gone. And I guess they were saying it was like her ex-boyfriend who used to like live in the room I was renting from. And so it must have been like a target. She must have been targeted or something. And so that was wild. And apparently I found out that that house had a history of break-ins. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. And so later, so the cops had left. I grabbed some of my belongings, and one of my friends came and met up with me, and I went to another friend's house and stayed the night because she was halfway between where I was staying and then where my parents lived, because I was going back home. And so then it was hard staying there. Like I didn't want to stay there, but I was still like under a lease. So the landlords at the time said that I could break the lease with no penalty if we found a roommate, because the roommate was moving out anyway, because she was pregnant. So I'm like, oh, here I am moving into this apartment, and then within like weeks I'm going through all this. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I'm stressing, not gonna lie. Trying to find roommates, hard to find a roommate, and I just didn't want to stay there anymore. So I basically gave the apartment up with no penalty, and I got my deposit back, and I ended up going back home. Um, but that was totally this one of the scariest uh times I've ever encountered. Like I still can hear like just the break of the glass and then like somebody walking past. It was like so creepy. And it took me a while to be able to be like home alone again, because it's not every day that you survive like a home invasion or go through a home invasion. So, but thank you for watching, and let me know what you want to see in the next video.